Hey, what's up, man? It's your boy P, the PM Lifestyle Channel. You tapped in right now, man. I'm at a very special location with a very special person, man. I want to introduce you to my friend, guy I met through the rap game, doing music stuff, you know what I mean, a few years back. And then we roll into this, man. T Hood, owner of American Shaman, man,
Yes, sir.
CBD
Yes, sir.
over here in Arlington, Texas, off Cooper Road, man, and it's a beautiful thing. But he has his hands in a lot of things, you know what I mean. So right now we're gonna tap into, an empowerment of Black people. What steps you need to do to make things happen for yourself. And if you might have anything that questions, I'm pretty sure he can answer because he's been on all different levels and stuff like that. So, one thing I know that you have is real estate. You've been into real estate and stuff like that. So, go ahead and tell people, introduce yourself, tell people just in case I missed something. You know what I mean? Because I
Yeah,
know you got a lot going on, man. So just in case, go ahead and tell the people what you got going, bro.
for sure, man. And man, that was a beautiful introduction. Just to say that and everything, man.
Appreciate it,
But
man.
I appreciate you, P, man, pulling up and everything. But you touched onto some good things. But just a little elevator pitch. Terrence Hood. Like you touched on, I started out into the music industry pretty early on in the life, and it taught me some great principles about business, networking, and most importantly, from my estimation of how to come into something, work at it, to master a specific task. And in this case, with music, writing and recording music, right?
Hmm.
And so, as I progressed on in life and matured a bit, it I've found a passion for real estate and business in general and wealth creation. Um, Ended up getting licensed in 2021 to be a realtor. So I'm licensed in the state of Texas to do brokerage activities, like helping people buy and sell
Hmm.
and lease real estate. And lo and behold, this opportunity came about to purchase this location, a CBD American Shaman. As some people may know, the 2018 hemp bill, farm bill that legalized consumable hemp, uh, allowed locations like this to exist. And I did some independent research prior to getting this opportunity on the benefits of the plant hemp. A lot of us know it as cannabis. Now being
Yes.
so entrenched into the industry, I know that we got to kind of be careful with our words, and we're gonna definitely get into the difference. But
Okay.
I did a lot of research independently prior to the opportunity on the benefits of cannabis and holistic healing. And so when the opportunity came about, man, I just jumped on it, then I really dove deep into kind of the benefits that it can have. So yeah.
Yeah. Well, man, I know you said the generational part of the real estate game and stuff like that.
Mhm.
What are some steps? So, like, what are first of all, like, how do you get in if a person wants to get into the real estate game?
Mhm.
What are some steps that they need to take? Do you need a high school diploma? Do you need to go to college? Is it like what's the steps that they would need to do to achieve this goal? First step.
Yeah, and so we're gonna unpack it a bit.
Okay.
And so as for real estate as a profession, let's specifically talk about that into the state of Texas, right? You do have to hold a real estate salesperson's license,
Okay.
right? And what that requires is you do pre-licensing courses. Is 6 courses, and it's all sanctioned by the Texas Real Estate Commission.
Okay.
Track. You don't have to have a college degree for it, but you do need to be able to pass a background check. All of the
Oh, see, I
requirements.
didn't know that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Well, why is that? Because you're going like to the different locations with people. Is it more of like a kind of like just to protect the person that's looking into buying the home? Like, why would you need a background check?
Yes, sir. So you hit it spot on. To my estimation, and coming up with these regulations, the real estate commission is. I try to look at it from their perspective, right? Like, you are privy to very proprietary information from a consumer, right? And that's
Okay.
what it's all about. It's just protecting the consumer, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes I have to handle very sensitive
Information.
information, and yeah, and so they kind of want to go through a thorough type of scenario in terms of background check for the license, and in
Okay.
order to go ahead and get the license.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So some other steps to get obtaining that. Once you get past your background check, then what would be your next
Mhm.
step?
Yeah, so pre-licensing courses, background check, and then you get all of your certificates from your pre-licensing courses
Mhm.
and turn it in to the Texas Real Estate Commission and sit for your real estate salesperson exam. Um, that's if you are looking to become a real estate professional and get paid for buying and selling, helping people buy, sell real estate and get a commission off of it for
Okay.
sure.
So it's a difference between an agent and a broker?
It is a difference between an agent and a broker in Texas. Uh, all of a salesperson's activities have to be sanctioned by a broker,
Mhm.
right? And so think of a broker as a supervisor.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. And so you got to hang your license for 4 years at the minimum
Wow, to be
under
to be
a
a
broker.
under a broker.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and have your activities
So they want you
be
kind of like
supervised.
dedicated in the game before you even get to that point of it.
Correct. Well, I would say so, man. Definitely, because and I want to touch on too the generational aspect, and you can get involved with real estate without being licensed, but let's stay
Mm.
there for a second before we go there. Of yeah, they want you to be thorough
Mhm.
because in America, a person's home, just starting out there, a person's home is the biggest investment that a lot of people make throughout life,
I've been
and
hearing that.
and a very solid asset to have. And so if they want a license holder, and then in this case I'm a realtor, which means I'm part of the National Association of Realtors and held to a kind of higher uh, standard of ethics,
Okay.
following our code of ethics, and so we have what we call a fiduciary duty, which is similar to doctor patient attorney client privilege and
Privileges.
everything,
Okay.
because you want to look out for people's best interest above your own. So
Okay.
in order to give you that license, they want to kind of make sure that you have that down. you
So
know
they were just trying to make sure you ain't out there just trying to get the buck and put
yeah,
some
just
people in some
hustling, man.
stuff. You know that the addict gonna fall through in a minute. You like, man, this is a marvelous house. Don't worry about it. You know what I'm
For
saying?
sure.
Your family gonna be safe. They move in, boom. You like, hold on, man, you lied to me.
Yeah, yeah.
All
No,
right.
you spot on, man, and that's why you got a broker too, because if you do that, then you gonna open yourself up to some
I was
lawsuits, and
about,
somebody
oh
got to
wait.
answer for it.
That part. Don't catch you on
For
the
sure.
street.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man.
Yeah, man. So
Yeah.
with the courses, is this
Mhm.
like a as you progress kind of course, or they have a time limit on this?
Yeah, so I went through Aceable Agent, man, which is online, and it was completely self-paced, which was beautiful for me. But oh man, that's a lot of different schools and platforms throughout the state. They just, like I said, they got to be kind of sanctioned by Trek that
Mhm.
allow them to be able to give you those credits. But yeah, the one that I went through, Aceable Agent, man, it was completely self-paced and everything, and I recommend that platform to anybody. I'm an auditory learner myself, you know what
Mhm.
I mean? And so it'll read the text and material to you so you can
Oh,
listen, the
yeah.
music, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
so that just helped me pick up that information, a
Okay.
little bit better.
So when you're what would be the cost associated with something like this?
Man, at the time I got that pre-licensing course through Groupon, bro.
What?
Believe it or not, yeah,
That's
Groupon
crazy.
had
I
a
would have
special.
never thought that you could
Man,
get
look,
this through a Groupon.
look, could you spotted? Look, I guess it's a business mind or whatever. I just felt like I didn't have all of that money to be paying, so
That part, yeah, I need a
I wanted to
discount at all
research
costs,
it. I
homie.
needed that
Yeah,
discounted, man. So I
yeah.
found it on there for like 250.
That's it, bro.
That's it, man, for 6 courses and everything.
Wow.
That was, that's the pre-licensing courses now.
Okay.
I always tell people too, man. I got a couple people that luckily I'm able to kind of mentor from this part of the process to actually getting their license. And I
Mhm.
always tell them too, you want to understand your complete startup costs because you are a small business. Like getting this license, you're being an independent contractor.
Mhm.
And being an independent contractor is like I say, you're a small business, so you got to understand your startup costs because it's operational expense. So that's the first part of it. That about 250 for the pre-licensing courses. Call it another 50 to 75 bucks by the time you actually sit down for the exam. You got to do your fingerprint scan and little stuff like
For
that.
real?
Yeah,
Is that associated with the background check part of it, or
it is. It is.
they're trying to make sure it's you? That's
Yeah.
got you,
Mhm,
got you.
mhm. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And from there, once you sit for the exam, then now it's gonna vary what are the expenses that you have
Mhm.
depending on which sector of the industry that you focus in on, right? Yeah.
So the generational part of it,
Mhm,
how does that come into play? I hear this a lot on commercials.
mhm,
I see people saying that, of course, like you said, this is one of the biggest investments that you'll make. So
mhm,
I hear, a lot of people talking about that, but
mhm,
in our community, we're short on a lot of what I can say experience or stuff that's handed down to us.
mhm.
Can you explain the that aspect of it?
Yeah, man, and I love the way you framed the question. But you know, generational wealth, generational aspect of real estate is a term and everything that's kind of thrown around, but just really unpacking it of just really ownership, man, and it's very attainable, right? Like, um, you know, it's gonna vary from person to person, like you say. If your parents were homeowners
Hmm.
and uh and or your grandparents, and you've had houses and real estate that's been passed down to you
Yeah.
throughout your life, that's generational wealth. But it starts it can start at any point, but that's where it starts. The ownership of a piece of land
Hmm.
is the best way that I can put it in what my definition of generational wealth would be: the ownership of a piece of land.
Okay.
And because you can do various things with it. It's one thing that they're not making anymore is land.
Man, yeah, yeah.
So
It's a
it's a
lot of it around, but
commodity.
they ain't making no more.
Look, I'm telling you, you know,
Lock in with some if you can.
for real.
So I've
Mhm,
heard, that you have to own the mineral rights to some of this land. Like you don't really own the property. Is that a
mhm.
myth? You have to buy the soil and the stuff that's below. How does that work, man?
Yeah. So I'm well, you can own a piece of property without owning the um mineral rights.
Hmm.
And being a licensed holder, I always have to get this disclaimer. But look, I'm not an attorney. You always want to consult with an attorney
Hmm.
onto these different rights and privileges. But I can help guide you through a transaction, and especially in terms of that. But um, the best way to explain it, a piece of property has different rights to it. So you have what we call surface rights
Hmm.
and everything, right? Which is just how it sounds. Everything above the ground. Then you have the mineral rights, which you were speaking about, which is everything under the ground
Hmm.
and everything, right? But you also got a third layer too, which is different parts of the country really
Yes, I ain't never heard about
experience
that.
it.
See,
Yeah,
that's why we need to lock in with somebody that's experienced with him, like him, man. Because I've only heard about those two.
yeah,
Now today is the first time I've heard about that third layer. Please elaborate on that one
for
because I
sure.
don't have a
So,
clue.
so that third layer is the air rights.
What?
Yeah,
You
so
got to pay for what's up here,
you
bro?
got to pay for what's up there. Look,
Air's free.
yeah, well, it is, but
God gave it to us.
and like, I, I
What?
I totally agree. I totally agree, man. But look, here's the thing, though. We gotta be protective of people's property rights, and so we don't want someone infringing upon our rights. And the same go for a piece of real estate that you own.
Mhm.
And there's certain cases out in a place like New York, where in you can research these things, man, of where people have infringed upon another person's air rights to their space, to their property,
Could that
and
be like drones and stuff, type
and
stuff, or what?
it can be a number of things, from drones to think about it, if you into like a metropolitan city, like a downtown area or something, right?
Yeah,
And you got a little low building like this, you probably don't want someone to come in if they own property on each side
and
and then
bury
build
your
a,
crib.
yeah, just pretty much bury you down in there, put a catwalk,
Ah,
whatever.
okay.
You want to kind of have some say so into what goes up above your building. But yeah,
Wow,
so yeah, that's why those rights and everything are important. And it gets down
that's crazy.
to some nitty gritty with the law and everything for sure. So, but it's
I'm gonna
interesting
start
for
using
sure.
it. Hey man, don't violate my air rights, man. I'm short, man. Don't violate my air rights. Don't be standing over me like
Yeah,
that. I own this up here.
look, I'll tell
So,
you.
like I seen recently in downtown Dallas,
Uh-huh.
they're building houses and they're getting above what was normally in these areas or normally within these codes of these locations. I mean,
Uh-huh.
these houses being built. What happens to um, a situation? I seen it to where they were making houses larger than what was actually supposed to be built on that thing. So a lot of people were investing money
Uh-huh.
in these locations, and what happened was now this guy has all his money taken away
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because he definitely couldn't go forward with the building of these structures because they were higher than what the normal what was in the neighborhood.
Sure, sure. Yeah, and so I mean that's like I said, man, it's interesting and intriguing, and to my estimation, I don't know a specific area, but it sounds like what may have happened is, he had a certain plan going, and it could have been contradicting to what the previous plan was. So everything is kind of sanctioned, for by the city and the county,
Mhm,
and we've gotten better over time in having a more uniform way and process of doing things, and what we call developers, right? Somebody just gonna buy up a patch of land and then they want to build x amount of houses on them.
mhm,
you know Today, the process that they have to go by in order to do that is different from what it was 10, 20 years ago, and so forth and so on.
mhm,
But we got historic cities that have been popular, have had a significant amount of population for a long time.
mhm.
And so developers have developed land for 20, 30 years, and it sounds as if like you know 10 years ago the building codes and standards said that you could build a house like this, probably, in my estimation, with little regulation and red tape, versus now today that same
Everything.
is different. They like, nah, you got to have this screw over here. You got to have an outlet, 6 foot away from this wall in order to be able to pass
Because all that's
inspections.
yeah, all
Yeah,
that's changed too. The way they
sure.
wire houses, the stuff that they put into the houses to
Uh,
wire them up too, all that's changed, right?
sure, sure. It definitely have. And they look at those things, pretty often. And the idea of all regulation is supposed to be of protecting the consumer,
Mhm.
and so but it is a good idea for everybody, all of us, to kind of keep an eye on those things to ensure that, right, like that it is protective of the consumer, and not just getting too bureaucratic and having negative consequences
Yeah.
of that regulation for sure.
So like since the pandemic, man, I
uh
noticed the prices of houses just in Texas alone is like skyrocketed.
mhm.
Like it damn near doubled in prices. Like what's the recent increase to these homes costing more money all of a sudden?
Yeah, and so mainly, man, the population growth, and supply and demand,
Mhm,
right? So we're seriously underbuilt in the country, of available housing, for the amount of people that we have, believe it or not, right? And so even you take a city like ours, like in the Dallas Fort Worth region, that has been among the highest in the country for people migrating to the area, it just it now you get that natural increase into prices from that. And I'm sure you can attest to it, man. Even I talked to some of my family out from where you from, out in California and stuff. A 3 bedroom, 2 bath here
bro.
versus what you would pay for it in California. You're talking about $1 million
Man,
house.
and that's in man.
Yeah,
I seen half a meal in Compton, homie, and I'm
yeah,
talking about run down cribs, shootouts every other
yeah.
night. You know what I'm saying? And it's just crazy that you would think that like the taxes that are paid into these,
Hmm.
and you paying your taxes would have fixed some of the streets. Because right now, going through Compton, sometime, man, it's like you dodging potholes at the potholes. I now
Yeah,
when I go back, I go around certain areas in California. I try to stay on the freeway as much as possible
yeah.
because the taxes that you pay is supposed to go back and pay for that.
Mm,
It's supposed to pay for the street lights, and I know you're paying for your police and the things of
yes,
that
sir.
nature and fire departments, but
Hmm.
they're not. The price of the man is crazy out there, man. When I moved out here, I moved back out here
Hmm.
because I moved back to LA and came back in like 2000 and something,
Hmm.
maybe 2000, 2001. I was living in Long Beach where the old Navy people used to stay, man.
Mm.
And I promise you, the whole apartment was probably big as this area right here.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's bathroom, kitchen, living room.
Mm.
And not only that, they had a staircase that would divide because when you come into the apartment, it was left and right. And you go up the staircase that was in the middle. Now that staircase is taking a portion of my home too, like my
Wow.
apartment in there.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we were paying 2,200 a month.
My God.
Crazy.
And when was this?
2,000.
2000.
2,000. It was a
Wow.
little box.
Yeah.
So now, you have in Los Angeles, bro, you have maybe 2 to 3 families occupying one home.
Hmm. Hmm.
You know what I mean?
I've
And
seen that. Yeah.
it's not like back in the day. The only time I see people that's still in their original home, still in their the people that purchased it way back in the day and they're just paying property taxes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's a rare thing. You know what I
Mm.
mean? It's crazy.
Yeah. No, definitely, man. And so, but the caveat to it of having this tremendous amount of growth into pricing here in our area in comparison to other regions in the country, we still
Mhm.
got a ways to go, right? So not like I always try, to help guide people and get them to understand, like, yeah, I know the prices are high and everything right now, but like you say, if you can ride it out for a while, then you get a chance to benefit from that growth from where you bought it versus where you're going to be able to sell it for within 10 years or so, and tying it right back into that generational wealth.
Mhm.
Owning a piece of real estate, owning even a house, right?
Yeah.
Like can be a very good vehicle to grow your wealth over the course
Oh, it's
of
definitely.
time. Yeah.
So I know people that have paid off their home.
Hmm.
They're living in a certain area of town, like Lil Elm, Frisco, and all that
Yeah.
stuff, right?
Yeah.
Um, Now they're in a situation to where they like either outgrown it with the children.
Hmm.
Should you stay in that home or should you now go buy a new home
Hmm.
at the rates of the new prices? Because the money that you would normally take home and pocket after selling from what you pay for
Hmm.
and a profit that you make, you're now paying that for the same house. Should you
True.
stay in the house and just renovate it,
Hmm.
change it, or should you move on and buy something new?
This is, I mean, shameless plug. Why you gotta have a trusted professional onto your team, to help you analyze those situations. Like, give me a call. But look,
Yeah.
but no, man, for real, like, everybody's situation is gonna be a little bit different, and I'll just start there. Of like, is this something that you want to do, and or if you need help in making that decision for yourself, like, let's analyze it. Well, if we did, get a little bit less space and we realize that equity, that you have into the place now, what would you do with it? How would you do?
Mhm.
You know? And so, me, I'm gonna look at your full picture of everything that you got going. If it's a scenario like you just mentioned where, you know, hey, the kids are out the house now, we don't need all of this space. We need the downsize. Well, let's look at the benefits and everything of that, right?
Mhm.
Like, even though interest rates are a little bit higher now, hey, you're gonna be able to save money onto your utilities. You got to take that into consideration.
That is true.
Also, realizing that equity and everything right now, you would be able to put that money either directly into that new investment of a house, and or if you're okay with having a mortgage and everything on it, which is not a bad thing to have a mortgage on it. Now you're going to take that cash and maybe you want to look at other
Mm.
investments to then grow that wealth. And what's been so eye opening over these last couple of years, you have to put your money somewhere to hedge off inflation,
Mhm.
right? A dollar today is going to be less worth less than a dollar tomorrow, right? But if you put it into a vehicle, into an asset that's gaining you more than what you're losing, then you
Makes sense.
winning at the end of the day.
Wow, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I've seen a lot of people from Los Angeles sell homes because of the price of the homes.
Mhm.
Sell those homes out there and then come back out here, move to Texas, purchase another home, purchase a car or two, and then still put money in the bank.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's how crazy the prices are out there, man.
Seriously.
That's wow.
Yes, it is.
So, did we cover everything to obtaining your license for real estate?
Yeah, yeah. The pre-licensing courses to Trek, man, and then doing your background check so you can sit for the exam. Yeah, yeah,
Okay. So now, you went from there to this wonderful location, man.
yeah.
American Shaman, CBD,
Hmm.
that culture. Now,
Hmm.
it's a lot of myths. It's a lot of people will always ask questions. Does it really work? Does it have healing properties? Um, is it some of the flower? It looks like the regular flower. Does
Hmm.
it still get you to a certain level?
Sure.
You know what I mean? Some of them don't want to be in there like Snoop Dogg. You know what I mean? You have older people asking a lot of these questions.
Uh-huh.
I recently had one of my friends. His mother was in some pain like that.
Uh-huh.
Now she has him going back and forth to get lotions and creams and stuff like that.
Sure.
So give them a little information on where your location is and the benefits and stuff like that of it.
For sure. For sure. Yeah. So I'm right in Arlington, Texas, 5904 South Cooper Street, which is on the corner of Sublet and Cooper. Um, right over here by the Albertsons, right next door to Crunch Fitness, if you're familiar with the area. So yeah, man. Look, I always tell people, definitely do your own research, do some independent research, but also, uh, similar to real estate, lean on to a professional who's gonna be able to kind of give you some insight of you know taking a deeper dive into things. So that's kind of something that I tried to do with this and have. So I've seen some success stories, man, for sure, with customers that come in that have different ailments like pain, trouble sleeping, and the products really do work. Now, the caveat to that is I research the products that I bring in through the door to ensure that they are
What they are.
what they are, and so each person is going to be a little bit different how they tolerate the the product, right?
Mhm.
And so I spend time and my staff and the guys that help me out and everything, we spend time to kind of get a good understanding of what a person is looking to use the products for, and then guide them to something that we have that's comparable to get that feeling, right? Now, man, I want to dispel a myth and everything, that I feel like is pretty common. A lot of people come in and they ask, well, is it synthetic? Well, no, all of the products that we offer are all natural,
Mhm.
and you hear a lot of things thrown around, Delta 8, Delta 9, and what we call cannabinoids, CBD, and it all derives from the plant that we used to seeing and knowing. Cannabis, in this case, is hemp, but we have to be very careful on the language that we use. But to my estimation, and the main difference is the process that you go about growing the all natural plant that we are all used to makes a difference in all of those little terms that get thrown around,
Mhm.
but ultimately they still do the same things and can treat the same type of ailments as what you're used to seeing. All natural, not synthetic.
Mhm.
Just go about it with a different process to get the same results.
So with that being said, one,
Mhm.
does it show up as like if a person is employed? Does it show up on your in your system
Drug
as
test. Yeah.
marijuana or
And
hemp?
so it can. And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but
No,
yeah,
you
no,
good, man.
it can. And so if it contains THC, which is what when you do a drug panel, just a normal, and I gotta say a urine sample, right? Let's
Mhm.
let's talk specifically about urine sample because different drug tests. So on the urine sample, they test for THC, right? So oh, you good, you good. You need to take that in. Okay,
Nah,
yeah, good. So if you consume a product that has THC into it, you do have to be concerned with that popping onto a drug test and everything, right? My store, we do carry products that don't have THC into them,
Mhm.
and so those would not pop onto a drug test. But I always give a disclaimer as well to people. Excuse me. It depends on how your body metabolizes whatever product that you're consuming, how often you do it, and also to what extent are you taking this drug test for? Because if we may want to look into some alternative things if depending on your situation. So I always
Mhm.
try to figure out what's people's situation and everything. But no, I do have products that won't pop onto a urine test because they don't contain THC,
Mhm.
which is the cannabinoid that urine samples identify.
Okay.
Mhm.
Now your delta eights or your delta nines,
Uh,
like what are those? Like I've been seeing a lot of in the milligrams. Look,
mhm.
you go to a smoke shop in LA, and it's like
Yeah,
all 50 milligrams or 100 milligrams, and then you see a delta 8 and a delta 9, it's like 2,000. You
yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah.
Like you like, man, I don't want to go to the moon. Like I'm trying to go into
Yeah,
space, but I'm not trying to go into the moon. So can you explain like what are the difference between those?
for sure, for sure. And look, I mean, I had to get my script down with this. And I consider myself a bit of a nerd. I love chemistry and everything growing up, and so when we bought the location, and people were coming in and they were asking that exact same question, and my wife was hearing how I was explaining it to her. She was like, "Bro, nobody understands what you saying." It's like simplify. She a RN, so I'm like,
Yeah.
"All right, I better take heed a little bit." She'll have to, she'll get in here and be
She
like,
like, "Give me the beef and
acetaminophen, or
potatoes, man." I mean,
just bottom line. No, give me all of that. I'm like, all
you
right,
scare
respect
these
it.
folks.
Yeah, basically. So man, the best way that I can explain it, bro, and then I'll go because I have, and I threw it right into her face too. I did run into some customers who came in who were like me, they think like
They
me and
want
the
that.
scientific. She was like, "Oh, I'm a pharmacist. That helps out a whole lot just
Yeah.
knowing that." So I'll give you both sides of it. Best way I can explain the difference between Delta 8 and Delta 9. Delta 9 is what we used to historically. That's all that we knew existed in terms of THC with the plant prior to the hemp industry and more research being done. The only difference between Delta 8 and Delta 9 is Delta 8 is a little less strong than Delta 9. Delta 8 doesn't have some of the negative effects that are sometimes associated with Delta 9 some people can get. Like THC is what gets you high,
Mhm.
right? It's the head, the psychoactive feeling, right? Um, and so sometimes with Delta 9, certain people have associated it with increased anxiety, right?
Ah, okay.
Because now here's the scientific part of it. the molecule is so stable with the double bond being on the ninth molecule, ninth carbon of that is very strong. So the effects last longer and they're a little bit stronger, right? Delta 8 is only one molecule away from that. Is the double bond is on the eighth carbon. And so the effects don't last as long and they're not as intense as a Delta 9.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Well, I appreciate
That
it, man.
makes sense.
I had to work on it, man. Because I'll tell
Okay.
you, she was like, man, nobody understand what you talking. I'm like, oh shit. Well, yeah,
Yeah, people see that come
yeah, yeah. Just kind of gloss over. Like, man, just get what do you think? Oh, like, no, this is I need to know what you think.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So with it being in Texas now,
Uh,
man, do you see legalization for true cannabis coming soon? You think they're gonna pass the legislation to have it here and stuff like that?
well, this is one thing that I hope happens. More education gets out onto what we have, because what we have is, in my estimation, the best thing that we need. Right. We have medical cannabis that's legal into the state, and then we have what we do here is what we call the hemp industry.
Hmm.
And the biggest thing is look, I'm from Texas, man, and we love our guns and everything, right?
I sure do.
Yeah, I'm already knowing. My guy's the certified trainer,
Yes, sir.
and be able to get your license. So that's very important. Our Second Amendment right. And currently, the laws that we have in place with medical cannabis, and if they expand onto those laws, could be very difficult for gun owners to use these products and still hold and
A
maintain
firearm.
their gun
Mhm.
license, right? As opposed to the hemp industry and getting more education and everything out there about the products. Like, honestly, you know, the traditional cannabis industry is not as extensive onto the product knowledge and identifying these cannabinoids that I'm talking about. Like, we got a much wider range and depth with products than what cannabis has. So I hope that we just expand onto this and just put into place common sense regulations
Mhm.
onto it, age limits, making sure that we are being mindful from a manufacturing perspective on the packaging, right? We don't want a bunch of cartoons all over the
So kids
so
walking in
kids,
there
yeah,
thinking like, "Oh, this some regular Jolly Ranchers," and they going to school
there
out
you
of that
go.
joint.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
but we already got third party testing, which got to be independent labs that the products go through to make sure that they're within safe limits
Mhm.
and everything for people. So, we just want common sense regulation. But man, look, for all intents and purposes, it's fully legal. And you go to the right places with, you know, retailers who really vet their product before they just start selling it,
Mhm.
then you're gonna be able to find what you're looking for, and it's perfectly legal, perfectly safe to consume.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
So if a person wants to get into this business where it is now,
Mhm.
legal hemp,
Uh-huh.
CBD,
Uh-huh.
wow, what's the process for them getting into it?
Mhm.
And you know, I ain't gonna say costs associated because I know you're different levels of stores and stuff like that.
Sure.
But like, what would be some steps that they would need to take just to just enter the game?
Sure. So you want to understand what you're gonna do for entry, right?
Hmm.
Excuse me. I was fortunate that this location was already up and running, and the opportunity came about for me to, purchase it from the previous owner.
Hmm.
Now that process looks a lot different than if you're coming in and coming directly from scratch, right? But this is also an option for people, right? Like, and regardless of what type of business, that's a good opportunity for people to really understand. Like, you can buy an existing business from someone who already has started that
Hmm.
business. And this, it has its pros and cons, but it can be definitely beneficial. That's one way. If you go the other way and you can, start up, you just want to make sure that, you got a good business plan on, kind of what you want to do. There are franchising opportunities
Yeah,
with
that's what I was
bigger
about to ask you.
brands.
Does,
Yeah,
is this kind of like a franchise thing too?
and
Okay.
and in franchising, you know, someone has already kind of created a model for the startup, and they can help you along the way in facilitating. You know, coming from, you know, hey, I want to do this. They can help you with, you know, locating a space
Mhm.
where you can run your operation, help you with numbers and different startup costs that's involved going that route. Franchise opportunities, right? This is a franchise, CBD American Shaman, and it actually originated out in Kansas City, which
Okay.
is crazy, right?
Go Chiefs.
Come on, man. We got too many. We got too many correlations. I'm telling you. That's just how
Yeah.
I go. Yeah, man. The guy that created it, Vince Sanders, out in Kansas City. He got a really you know, gripping story. It was a personal story of his. Is he's a cancer survivor, and
Wow.
so yeah, and so, you know, that's kind of what led to the CBD American Shaman brand being created, and the products from that was, you know, from a personal story of his. Go check it out. So that's a franchise opportunity. You know, CBD American Shaman. There are other brands who do similar type of things, right?
Mhm.
That's an option. Or, you know, you can completely come from scratch, a new brand and everything. And the main thing that you want to know is your what you have to do for your license, right? Like, you know, in Texas, you know, you have to have a Texas retail license to sell consumable hemp
Mhm.
products, right? But depending on where you start that location, you may have other regulations that you or licenses that you need to have in
So
order
it
to have
differs
a
from
storefront.
state to state.
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
does.
excuse me, city to city.
City to city, state to state, just because, you know, you got is this how the law is all law, right? So you got federal, then you got state, then you got local, and the local is between the county and the municipality of the city.
Mhm.
And so depending, they could have conflicting ordinances that make you have to do different things to start up, right?
Yeah, because I mean, I learned that in Los Angeles, man.
Hmm.
Like,
Hmm.
local, you can sell, and it was cool. But
Uh-huh.
then the feds was known to run in some places,
Hmm.
and like, oh, y'all making X amount of money, and we
Yeah.
like, oh, well, we supposed to be legal, and they like, well, yeah, that's on the state level, but on the federal level,
Yeah.
we can come in here at any moment and harass you, take it, whatever it was. And I was
Yeah.
like, I don't understand that. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So when you say the courses that you would take, I mean, to get licensed, um, how is that? Is that work as you go type thing, like at your own pace, okay, courses to learn how to sell this?
Well, in the license for this, there is no, you know, there's no educational requirements per
Okay.
se with this. That may change at a certain point, but no, right now, man, like you get on there, I forget, you know, which um agency is in charge of the licensing for it, even though I went through it, done it
Mhm.
and everything. But it's a state agency that you go on and you pay your fee. You know, similar to like a, you know, a retail sales certificate, resale certificate that you
Mhm.
need to collect taxes. Like it's like a license like that where you just, you know, kind of pay to play of like, hey, this is what I'm doing. It's registered. I got the license for it to sell it to people. And then you know, right now as it exists, you know, no educational requirements. They just want that onus on the individual to be able to be responsible.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay.
yeah,
So like with legalization being probably not too far away or around the corner,
uh,
will a shop like this be able to transition to legal with blended, or does it allow you just only to stay on one side of either or side of the camp, like the line? Do you have to stay in the CBD hemp side, or can you merge those two together?
yeah. Well, me personally, man, I got used to pivoting, regardless, right?
Mhm.
And so yeah, I'm gonna stick around. I with my shop, I try to. bring in the products that are into holistic healing, period,
Mhm.
right? So I do have hemp slash cannabis products. They are hemp. They're all legal hemp.
You heard that. They're legal.
Legal
So don't
hemp
watch this
hemp
video be like
related.
I'm going drop a dime. They're legal. Everything is perfectly fine and legal around here. Let's go ahead and make that statement. Yeah.
For sure. I
Yeah.
appreciate that, man. We can't drive that home enough. But yeah, man. But I'm not a one trick pony, man. Like I really believe in the like mushrooms, and then they don't have the psilocybin in them. It's just truly a nootropic blend of mushrooms, and mushrooms is like brain food, is what we call it, man. Like lion's mane mushroom and different things like that,
Mhm.
man. So I bring in the products, and I've got some things on the way that are very going to be very complementary to the holistic type of healing and getting back to all natural type of products and letting your body do the things necessary, that God intended it to do, but just adding those all natural ingredients to kind of help it do what it needs to do, right? So that's where my shop is, and I'm only expanding onto that, so I'll be able to pivot no matter what comes onto the horizon.
So I have a family member.
Uh-huh.
Is there anything for like stomach issues, like a lot of stomach issues and things that's running, they're having problems with?
Mhm.
Does it cure that type of does it have that type of healing therapy for a person?
It definitely can. So let me ask you this: is it more like a nausea type of feeling?
Um, Dang, that's a good question.
Yeah,
I think it's just always like a upset,
yeah,
not nothing associated with like diarrhea or anything like that, but
got
it's more something that's
it. Uh-huh.
just an uneasy feeling,
Sure,
and I was always say, well, dang, I know CBD gotta have something. I'm hearing about this. It's gotta have something that's gonna
no doubt,
heal a person up or what I mean, fix that.
no doubt about it, man. And so yeah, and I'm only asking those those are the type of questions that I would ask the person when they come in to
Mhm.
just really be able to, hey, let's try these products. But to answer your question on, like, yeah, definitely, CBD hemp, consumable hemp products can definitely help out with that. A lot of people, man, that even come in, and like I said, even like Vince, the founder of the company, talk about he was battling cancer and everything, and so it has been proven, it has been found that cannabis hemp products can be very beneficial for patients who are undergoing chemotherapy because they experience things like nausea
Mhm.
and everything, right? Loss of appetite from the radiation, and just the properties of the plant um, uh, really help subside that nausea, settle your stomach, and at the same time gives you a bit of an appetite. What my boy Cat Williams say? What's the three side effects?
Hungry, happy.
Come on, man. Come on. So it's real. For real.
Shout out to Cat,
Shout
man.
out the cat, man.
Yeah, man, that was crazy. But yeah, I lost a family member last year to cancer.
Mhm.
I
Sorry to
lost a
hear that.
friend to cancer, man. He done a little time. He sat down for a little minute,
Mhm.
came out, got into real estate, made a gang of money, man, and ended up passing like a year later. And then I had a aunt that she lost her battle to cancer last year,
Mhm.
and they were trying to find out things that could have eased the pain or help her through the process. And by so far along, like she couldn't eat. There was a lot
Mhm.
of things that she couldn't do.
Mhm.
And, we wish we could have got ahead of it, what I
Sure.
mean, and
Sure.
kind of helped her out. We was even looking to the Dr. Sebi stuff, man,
Mhm.
to make sure that, anything to keep her here on a little bit longer on earth.
Yeah.
And, it was hard getting her to transition into, fighting it back. And, eventually she lost her battle with it, what I mean? And
Mhm.
knowing that, this is the case or healing properties, you heard it here that you can actually, help with cancer, the nausea, the things like that that get you going, and hopefully it can, bring you back. So if you know anyone, you can, tap into like my boy Terrence Hood, man. You have locations you can call, check in with it, and make sure that you can help somebody out and help them through their process because that cancer thing is a crazy battle
Yes,
along
sir.
within itself. So Um, Anything else you might want to inform them, man, before we jump into the next?
Yeah, well, I'll just piggyback off that for a second, man, if you don't mind.
Yeah,
And
yeah, go ahead.
yeah, man. Look, cancer, the disease of that, man, has riddled us so much as a society. You know that we all need to kind of look at different things that could prevent that, right? Just to help us all out. And yeah, man, in my estimation, a lot of healthcare professionals as well of, what they say is, taking preventative measures is a lot better than being retroactive, right? Like, then, hey, if you can do things that can have been found to help stave off the possibility of you getting cancer, is a lot better than waiting until something happens. So and I try to practice what I preach, man. You touched on it with your friend and everything, man. I'm sorry to hear that, for sure. But health is wealth and everything, man. And I know, like, I try to practice what I preach, but sometimes we get so lost into the everyday grind that we forget about self-care and taking care of ourselves. But
Mhm.
even little things, man, like going to the doctor regularly, and getting things like blood work done, and those are important and things that we need to do now. Granted, I understand the healthcare system that we have is can make it a bit challenging sometimes, but it would definitely be beneficial for us to be able to go do those things. So I'm in the holistic healing, but I'm not against traditional methods
Mm.
as well, right? Especially when we're talking about preventative measures. So yeah, man, just doing different things like that, researching the products, researching ways that you can do things that are natural for your body to heal itself, because it's
Mhm.
like a machine, man. It's like a well-oiled machine. When you get the proper amount of nutrients, from the food that you eat, you get the proper amount of rest, relaxation, and sleep. You help, mitigate your stress levels and everything. And it has been, proven, the data is out there that you can live a lot
Longer
longer
life.
and healthy life. So yeah, for sure. I'm with all of that, and anything that I can do to help out or have conversations for that, I'm here for it.
Bet, bet.
Yeah.
Man, and yeah, man, I had recently somebody, get your colon checked, man.
Oh
That's
yeah.
another thing, mission that I'm on myself, fixing to go get that taken care of and checked out.
Hmm.
Um, it's crazy that if you overlook it, you won't even know you can be walking around and not even knowing that you have this issue. And then once it hits you, it takes on a whole nother life on its own. So I recommend going and getting the check. I'm finna go have a procedure myself just to make sure I'm all right. Like you said, health is wealth, man. We have my children around here. I want to live longer for them, live here for my family and things like that, man. And make sure I take care of that. So, that being said, man, I want to thank you, bro,
For
taking
sure.
time out your day, having us here, man. And any social media stuff you want to give out to help people follow you or anything like that on social media?
No doubt, man. And even before I plug that, man, I appreciate you, bro. Everything that you're doing, just you always been a solid cat from day one, man. Tap in with P, and then what you're
Appreciate
doing
it.
here with the podcast and the topics that you covering, man, is uber important. We need that type of environment for people, man. But yeah, man, if people, you can follow me on Facebook, IG, Facebook, Terrence Jefferson Hoodville on there, TerranCe Hoodville, Veal on there. And on IG, T Hood HB, at T Hood HB on the IG. And those are, my personal slash, Meta got the professional dashboards and everything.
Yeah.
And so if you go right there, man, you'll be able to connect with me on the real estate end, as well as I'll be posting content for the health and wellness journey as well, but just making that all encompassing. And if you are looking in the area, and you're in the area, CBD American Shaman of Arlington, I'm over here on 5904 South Cooper. um, you know definitely drop by, come see me. And my socials I'll be posting access to our online store and site, and we got pickup options and delivery options available for the products that we serve, and we can even do some online consultation. So
Yes,
Facebook
sir.
and IG.
Yes, sir. So, man, heard it here first, man. I thank you for coming in, tuning in to the PM Lifestyle Podcast. All the information will be posted. So now we're about to go ahead and take it to another level. Check out some products out here. So right here, if you see it, I'm gonna advertise it on here, and you can order, man. So tap in with us, man. Tap in with T Hood. You know what I mean? And we'll check you out later, man. Peace.